Rank Up With Me is on League of Legends. Nice. What a clown. In the Haas, Marko, who finished P11 in Division 1 last season. And Matigia, who did a few races in Div 1 last season as well, but didn't finish in the top 20. We got Craggy, who I believe has done a couple of races in the Williams. And he is joined by one of the only sort of Streamers & Co. old boys that I kind of recognise from here. And that is Regmeister. He finished P6 in Division 1 last season. Ferrari, I think, is probably going to be the strongest team this season. I would be surprised if they weren't. I think maybe there's one team that could take it to them. Ferrari boasting a lineup of Bjarni Olsen, who finished in P1 last season, the champion of Division 1. And he is joined by Oliver Broadford, who finished P2 last season. We also have, in the McLaren, Optic, who will not be racing tonight. He is replaced by Ashley this evening. And then we have him joined by Tom Go Prof, who did a couple of races last season, but again, didn't finish in the top 20 drivers. We've got Kick as well. That is boasting a lineup of Koji, who did a few races last season, and also Magnus, who finished P12 last season in Division 1. We have VCarb boasting a lineup of Bourbon, who finished P15 in Division 1 last season. He will be replaced tonight, well, should have been by Rank Up, but Rank Up doesn't appear to be here, so Bourbon not racing this evening. We are also seeing on that team Goof, who finished P17 in Division 1 last season. Alpine is possibly one of the strongest lineups this season as well, boasting the Ham Jam Wombo combo, finished P3 and P4, Jam in P3, Ham in P4 last season. We have Aston Martin boasting the lineup of D-Mub, who I think could be a little bit of a dark horse for the Drivers' Championship this season. Finished P10 last season, but I think he continues to improve constantly. And he is joined by Sheehan in P5 last season. Mercedes is boasting a lineup of John Marko and Arian. John Marko finishing P16 last season. And Arian, I couldn't find any data about him racing before. So I think tonight might actually be his Streamers & Co. debut. And then the final team we haven't mentioned, and the team that I think I am personally going to be rooting for this evening, is Red Bull, boasting a lineup of FFTB, who was the Season 9 Division 2 champion. And FFTB will be joined by Devin in the Red Bulls. So we've got a really, really strong lineup this season. Who is that behind him? Is that Magnus? It is. I don't know if Magnus is also on a lap. Yep, goes fastest, 125.5. And behind him, I believe that was Jam doing a 126.2. You can see the impact of that mistake through Stowe for Reg. 125.325 is the time to beat for Broadford as he brakes hard into the Vale chicane, down into third gear, through club corner, and now we will see what kind of time this is going to be for the man who was P2 last season. 125.8, exactly 5 tenths of a second off of his teammate. And Bjarni looking like the man to beat. Rank Up With Me apparently is on his way, so we will have a full grid of 20 drivers today, which is awesome. Let's see if we can get him in to get a quali lap. Seems like a really strong run there through Maggots and Beckett's. Exits through Chapel, 2 tenths up at the moment. This could be good enough for pole position right here, or a provisional pole, I should say, as he brakes nice and late into Stowe. Decent run through there, tiny bit of a kick out, but I think he should be fine. Maybe that Haas was getting in the way there just a tiny bit. I think Magnus wasn't too compromised. And now as he makes his way through club corner, what time is this going to be for Magnus? It's a 125.2, and it is the fastest lap of the session so far. First man in the 125.2s. Could we see anybody else improving on that? Bjarni Olsen going fastest there with a 125.266. 15 thousandths of a second faster than Magnus at the moment. I think it is going to be perhaps a battle of the Danes this evening. I should say the Faroese and the Dane, but you know what I mean. And Jam at the moment on a pretty decent lap through here, coming through Stowe now. And we'll see what kind of time this is going to be for him. We've got a couple more corners to go for Jam. Makes his way through the Vale chicane. Pretty nice. Final couple of corners now. I think this is going to be an improvement for Jam, but where's it going to put him? Rounds the final corner, crosses the line, 125.5. It's good enough for P7 at the moment. And this is a super compact field right now. We will see who is going to be the first person to be crowned a pole sitter in Streamers & Co. Season 10. I am thinking it's probably going to be one of Bjarni or Magnus based on the pace we've seen so far. As Reg comes through Stowe now, he's got a couple more corners to go. Let's have a look as he comes through the Vale Chicane. What kind of time is this going to be for Reg Meister Gamer? Where is it going to put him? Provisionally, at least, as he comes to the final corner, 125.6. That's a bit more like it from Reg. Currently P8. Next across the line is Rank Up With Me, and he is going to be P18. Next, we have an Alpine. It's not Jam, but Jam does make a big mistake there. We've got Raza, I assume. Sliding through the final corner, 125.9 is all he'll be capable of. P15 is his maximum. Massacrator, 126.3. And Goof crosses the line with a 126.0. So Rank Up With Me will be starting dead last. We've had a Haas cross the line. Marko into the 124s. That's massive for Marko. Let's have a look. Is this Bjarni coming through? No, Bjarni's coming through Maggots and Beckett's at the moment. But we are going to ride on board with him because he is going to be the one to challenge Bjarni. Magnus couldn't improve. Broadford with a 125.3. Tommy with a 125.3. Crag with a 125.5. And I think that's everyone that we've seen so far. A few more people crossing the line. Arian into the pits. Matigio with a 125.6. Who else is going to improve? I think that's FFTB ahead of Bjarni here. So we're going to see his time first. Sheehan into the pits as well. 125.4 for him. FFTB crossing the line. Oh, no, that was the other one. Bjarni only a 125.0. I think this is going to be Marko's unless FFTB can do anything here. But he can't. Only a 125.3. And I think Tomgo Prof is not going to be doing another lap here. Marko into the 124s. What an absolutely stonking lap from Marko. Unbelievable. Well done to Marko. P1. Absolutely fantastic job from him. Bjarni Olsen in P2. He'll be starting on the right side of the grid. Magnus, then Broadford, then FFTB, and Ash, Sheehan, D-Mub, Craggy, and Arian rounding up the top 10. And then we got Jam in P11. Definitely could have done better, I think, Jam. Devin in P12. Matigia in P13, Reg in P14, John Marko down in P15, Raza P16, Goof P17, Tomgo Prof in 18, Koji P19, and Rank Up With Me will be rounding off the grid. Let's see if he can go forward from there as we now get ourselves into the race. It is showtime. Anybody can do something like that over one lap, but can they do it over 26 laps? That's the question. 20 drivers lining up for the first round of the Streamers & Co. VRL Season 10 Division 1. Who's going to win as the lights come on and the lights go out? It's been a long time. I've been waiting to say that. Marko gets away nicely. Bjarni moving to the inside. Is Bjarni going to go for a move up the inside? Didn't quite want to commit to it there, but Bjarni holding on the whole way around the outside of Marko. Who's going to be ahead going into turn 3? It is super close between those two. We already have a yellow flag behind. I think that's one of the V-Carbs round, possibly. Or maybe the Williams of Reg. It might be Goof. I'm not 100% sure. But Marko maintains his lead, looking to break the DRS, or not the DRS, but the slipstream of Bjarni. Broadford already up into P3. He's battling away with FFTB. Magnus losing places off the start. He's down now into P6, battling it out with the Aston Martin of Sheehan. But Marko is leading the way here. Already 5 tenths broken to Bjarni Olsen. And maybe it's not going to be Olsen's world and we're just living in it this season. Maybe Marko has come to disrupt that just a little bit. As you can see, I believe it was D-Mub and Goof and maybe Reg that had some problems. Yeah, Rank Up With Me. Already up 7 places into P13. Crag overtaking Tommy there for P7. Through Maggots and Beckett's? Question mark. Interesting. FFTB may be looking for a move there on Broadford. Not quite. We've had an issue here for Goof by the looks of things. He is well down the order now. A couple people, Devin and Raza, coming into the pit lane. I assume they got a little bit of damage. So those two will be coming into the pit lane. And let's have a look at Koji right now. He's done amazing off the start here. I think Goof may be retiring, or he's maybe got rear wing damage or something, because he is going super slowly through Club Corner at the moment. Koji up, I believe, 9 places. Was it P19 that he qualified? What an absolutely ridiculous start from the Kick Sauber driver. Looks like there's a bit of a ding-dong going on between these two, and they're wheel-to-wheel going through Club Corner here. Who is going to be ahead as we get into turn 2? That's going to be the big pressure point here, because these two could go wheel-to-wheel the whole time. I think Rank Up With Me has just held on to it. Could Arian look for a little bit of a move into turn 2? If anything, it looked like the Haas of Matigia was looking for a move on him, and in fact, Matigia is going to go for it round the outside, maybe looking to switch to the inside as they get onto the Wellington Straight here. And this is where the field is going to start to separate from each other. The more that people battle with each other, the more that you would expect the field to start to separate from one another. There's a huge battle going on there. I believe that is everyone trying to get past Koji. If Koji can hold on to this, it will be an absolutely incredible defense, but I do worry that he is going to burn far too much battery down this straight if he's to defend this position. Koji is going to be a sitting duck to some of these guys behind him, and Jam goes for the move into Stowe, and he loses the position as Jam makes his way up into P9, and now we'll be hoping that Koji can keep those cars behind as much as they can to hold on to this position. He is all over the back of Tom. Tom was lucky not to lose any positions off the back of that. As you can see, that looks to be another mistake from Tom there, actually. Losing a couple places there, not only to Rank Up With Me, but also to Arian, and Tom is the first man to get a 3-second time penalty as well. As these drivers bunch up together, as you can see, there's a bit of a ding-dong going on between Jam and Crag once again. Any contact? I don't think so. They're keeping it nice and clean at the moment. Jam just edging ahead of Crag. I think he's the one with the DRS. Is Crag going to look up the inside? Yes, he is! Oh my goodness, Crag. No! That's really, really unfortunate for Crag. He maybe just put his nose in where it shouldn't really have gone and made a tiny bit of contact there with Jam. We'll see what the stewards decide on that one. Sheehan is coming in. So our first couple of drivers are coming into the pit lane. I don't know if this is tactical or whether there's some damage there or what's going on, but both Aston Martins doing it suggests to me that it probably is tactical, and maybe these guys are even looking at a 2-stop here today. I don't know if that's the right strategy, but I mean, time will only tell. Marko comes into the pits. So Marko has blinked on lap 9. Let's have a look at his pit stop. I just want to see this Haas coming into the pit lane again, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Bjarni will take the lead, at least momentarily, but we will see what is going to happen with regards to this. This is maybe Marko's chance to break away. The question is, has he blinked too early? Oh, he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture, left front puncture, you can see there. This track is massively left front limited. And yeah, Koji got a puncture. He was pushing so hard, bless him. He really, really was trying to do better there. But he couldn't quite make it into the pit lane. Oh, it's wheel to wheel as we come into Stowe here. Oh, that was contact. That was contact. I think somebody, it looked like there was contact between those two. I'm sure I saw it. No, they were right wheel to wheel with each other, and I'm sure maybe it was just a little bit of dirt getting kicked up there, but I thought there was contact. But I can't see any damage on either of these two cars, and it looks like they're going pretty close. There's a visual bug. Okay. I was like, that would be a horrible way for these two guys' races to have issues. As they go wheel to wheel again through Stowe here, these two are having an absolute ding-dong right now. This is amazing to watch between the two of these guys. The Div 2 champion and the Div 1 runner-up going wheel to wheel with one another through multiple corners. What an absolutely fantastic spectacle was put on between these two just then. John, Marko and Rank Up, I believe, have come into the pits there, but Jam stays out, so he is most likely now going to get undercut by these guys. But will they be able to make, what's that going to be, 11 laps on the mediums? Will they be able to make that work? That seems very borderline based on what we've seen from everybody else. Yeah, Rank Up With Me is at 13 positions. He had a great race today, Rank Up With Me. What an absolutely fantastic race, and maybe a contender even for a driver of the day. And to think, he was on League of Legends when this race was starting. What a guy, huh? Right, let's see. Can Bjarni do anything to Marko here on their way into Stowe? Bjarni with the DRS. The gap closes to 0.3 of a second. I don't think Bjarni was pushing super hard there. I think he's just biding his time at the moment. He knows he's got the tyre differential. He knows he can afford to wait. And the whole time he does this, it is going to increase the dirty air that Broadford is getting. It's going to decrease the likelihood that Broadford is going to stop Bjarni from winning this race. I think Bjarni is playing a little bit of a long game here, possibly. Into the Wellington straight now. Bjarni looking for the slipstream. Marko going to the inside and then back to the outside as they go through the corner. Bjarni's super close, but he just can't make this move happen. But Magnus is not able to capitalise on what's going on in this battle at all. I would have thought that Magnus would have closed in on this this train that's happening here, but he's just not been able to. Bjarni now is super close going through to Kops, but don't forget, he is going to have a little bit of dirty air coming through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bjarni falls away just a little bit coming through these corners. But if he can maintain sort of about 0.4 of a second or so, you would really expect Bjarni to have a run at him into Stowe here as they come on their way down the Hamilton Straight. Gap now 0.2. Can he get it below 0.1? Bjarni just doesn't want to commit to the move. I think he really could have actually made that happen there, to be honest. I really think Bjarni maybe just sort of chickened out of it a little bit, to be honest. Into the Vale Chicane, the gap is less than 0.2 of a second. Bjarni needs to make this move now, or the dirty air is just going to kill his tyres. Remember, Marko boxed earlier despite the fact that he had the clean air the whole time, because Marko was leading the race the whole time. But Bjarni needs to make this move sooner rather than later before this tyre advantage that he has over Marko completely disappears, because the dirty air is going to wreck his tyres at a much faster rate. Broadford is right there as well, don't forget, and Broadford could still get in there. Magnus is having a very quietly good race down in P4, but still, he just can't catch this train. Bjarni looking for a move around the outside of Luffield here. Can he get it to happen or not? I'm glad he didn't, because I called it Luffield when it's actually Brooklands. Now they're coming through Luffield, still looking for a move around the outside, but as they get onto the next straight, as they come through turn 8, he cannot quite make that happen as Tom gets another penalty. Is Bjarni going to look for a move through Kops? Oh my god, he is around the outside. Surely they don't make this work. Somehow, both of them staying on the track. No contact. Bjarni making his way through. I think there was a little bit of contact as they come into Maggots and Beckett's there. And Bjarni Olsen leads the British Grand Prix here in round number 1 of season 10. Great move from Bjarni Olsen. Full balls. Maybe he heard me saying he needs to just get on with it. And now we have a new race leader for the first time in this race. Marko has been leading pretty much from lights to flag. Obviously, he boxed a little bit earlier, but Marko has been the only person who ever looked like he was winning this race until right now, and now he's coming under pressure from Ollie Broadford as well. Bjarni is going to break away and possibly break 1 second out of there as well, as Marko is coming under a lot of pressure from Broadford, and if Broadford wants to challenge Bjarni for the win today, he needs to make this move on Marko now. I think Marko's tyres are really starting to suffer. Broadford is trying to go around the outside. Can he hang it on through the next couple of corners? I think he can, you know. Who is going to have the DRS? I think it's going to be both of them, as there's a little bit of contact between those two. No damage. Marko holds on to the position, and Marko has the DRS for now as well. But look at this gap between Marko and Bjarni now. It's down to 0.7 of a second. I really think that Bjarni is going to break away from here, and Broadford needs to capitalise. There's contact between the two of them. Marko falls away, and Bjarni now surely is going to be out of sight here. Broadford is going to be up into P2, but will he hold on to the position? I think possibly Broadford is going to give that back. Maybe he views it as his fault there, that incident. But now, look who this is bringing into play. Magnus and Jam. Remember, Jam qualified in P11. He started on the hard compound tyres. These medium compound tyres now coming into play. SLR Jam could steal P2 here. Bjarni is off up the road. We don't have to worry about him. But look at this from Jam. He's just 0.5 off of Magnus. He has the tyre advantage. He has the medium compound tyres. Honestly, Marko and Broadford could be out of this one. With the pace that Jam is going to have now, I really think that it could be a P2 for Jam here, possibly. We'll see what he can do in these final couple of laps. Bjarni is so far out in front, but this has been a remarkable fight back from SLR Jam. That contact from Marko and Broadford really screwed over both of their races now. Remember, Marko's been on these hard compound tyres for 15 laps, Broadford for 13 laps, Magnus for 14 laps, Jam on these medium compound tyres for just 8 laps. The only thing that's going to screw him over is if he gets stuck in this DRS train. He has to be clinical. He has to push like his life depends on it. He cannot stop for 1 second to consider whether these moves are worth making or not. He just has to go for it. He has to go full send on these moves if Jam wants this podium. It is well within his grasp. Broadford only 0.3 down on Marko now as they make their way into Kops corner And as they come through Copse, you can see how much these guys are really struggling now. Using the full width of the track, they've done so well to avoid getting penalties at a track that is really, really easy to rack them up through some of these corners. You just go a tiny bit too wide, as I think Massacrator is possibly looking for a fastest lap there. He's just boxed onto some soft compound tyres. And now is going to be the real test. Is Broadford going to make a move on Marko here? Not into Stowe, certainly, but will he get a good enough run to maybe think about going for it into the heavy braking zone of the Vale chicane? No, not on this occasion. So Marko leads Broadford, leads Magnus, leads Jam. John Marko is a little bit too far out of the picture, I think. But what a fantastic opening race this has been. Bjarni Olsen is leading the field, and surely he is going to win this race. But who is going to be our other podium sitters? Is it going to be Marko? Is it going to be Broadford? Is it going to be Magnus? Jam now up into P4 as Magnus makes a bit of a mistake there. Jam's going to look around the outside, and I think he's made the move stick. He just needs one more position now to get himself onto the podium. This has been a fantastic fight back from SLR Jam. I am super, super impressed with the quality of racing on display from him, and I think that a podium could still be on for the man in the Alpine on this final lap, but he needs a stroke of good fortune. Another man who will want a stroke of good fortune is Oliver Broadford. He made that contact with Marko a couple of laps ago, but he still needs one more overtake to make it a Ferrari 1-2 today. But he's just fallen away a little bit too much. I think that's John Marko off the road there as well. He's made a big mistake, as has Magnussen. So that is going to be those two. I think Magnus has fallen away from this one now. It is Marko, Broadford and Jam for the last two spots of the podium, but there aren't many corners left, and I think Marko is just about going to hold on to this one. Maybe Jam's tyres just falling away a little bit at the end there. A few yellow flags going now, as I think John Marko has gone back through on Magnus. Magnus, has he got a puncture possibly? Not sure, but one Dane who certainly didn't get a puncture was Bjarni Olsen, winning the British Grand Prix for the first round of the Streamers & Co. VRL Season 10. Marko across the line in P2, Broadford P3. Jam just couldn't quite make it in the end for P4. John Marko will take P5, rank up with me from P20 to P6, and Arian will cross the line to take P7. It's Tommy Ash who will take P8, and next we are looking for Magnussen, who is getting swarmed on the final lap. There's a big spin there from D-Mub, who tries to avoid Magnussen. Magnussen with the puncture will end up in P12. It was FFTB P9, Sheehan P10, and D-Mub really looking to avoid all that contact makes his way in P11. Magnussen P12, Matigia in P13. Will we see a fastest lap from Koji here, who is going to take P14 at the flag? He had such a good start to the race, but just fell away in the end. Koji crosses the line, and it is the fastest lap for him. Great work from Koji. Razor in P15, and now we're just waiting for the last couple of drivers to round the final few corners. It's not been a great race for Reg today. I did expect a little bit better from him, I'm not going to lie, but Reg will cross the line to take P16, and Tom will bring up the rear in P17. What an absolute barnstormer that was. What an absolutely fantastic race. And now, I think it's only right if we watch this podium ceremony, and then we will do a little bit of a vote on who we think our driver of the day was. I think I've got a few candidates today. Obviously, you can't write out Bjarni. I think Jam, I think Rank Up, and I think we'll put Marko up there as well, because he did really fight hard for that race as well. So I think those are going to be our four picks. I will put a poll up in just a second after this podium ceremony, and you guys can tell me who you think today's driver of the day was. What an absolutely incredible race that was. Heartbreak for Magnus at the end. It was looking like it was going to be an easy P5 for him, and then his tyres just went really unfortunate for him. Fantastic tyre management from the rest of these guys, especially your top three today, and a banging race which I can only hope will continue throughout the rest of this Streamers & Co. season as well. For now, I have been your host, Rum Copier, and I will be joining you guys again for another Div 1 race next Tuesday, which is going to be around the wonderful Mexico City circuit.